Okay, I'm going to talk about environmental rhetorics, religion, and political impacts. My head looks slow. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a couple definitions. I got these definitions from a video titled Dr. Sahar Jakim, What is Anthropocentrism? Okay, so anthropocentrism is a human-centered system of belief where they believe that humans are the center of what has moral status. They also believe that humans have intrinsic value, which means they're important just because they're human, and non-humans only have instrumental value. So animals, they may care about the environment or animals, but only because it affects humans. And then they answer the question, why do humans matter most, with three common answers, right? So the first one being that human beings have rationality different and more unique than anything else, and that's why no other things have intrinsic value. Okay, or they might say no other beings have a soul or spirit, which brings you to religion. They say that God gave Adam and Eve dominion over all things on the planet. And then the third one would be sentience. Ecocentrism is a belief system centered around the importance of the ecosystem or ecology. So biology, animals, and humans, they might matter, but not as much as the ecosystem. And there's also like a circle. The outermost circle will be ecology, and then biology, and then zoology, and then anthropology, or centrism instead of biology. Anyways, ethnocentrism is evaluations of other cultures according to preconceptions originating in the standards and customs of one's own culture. So that's judging another culture based off what you are used to. So it's being biased rather than being open to different behaviors, languages, traditions, etc. Okay, then moving on to religion's impact. So I'm gonna talk about a couple different religions and how they view the environment. Okay, so followers of Judaism. Oh, also these came from a couple videos by LSE Faith Center on YouTube, and they were called "What Does Judaism, Christianity, and the Hindu Tradition Have to Say About the Environment?" But 3 different videos. So followers of Judaism believe that the world is a place of beauty that belongs to God, and it is not their right to destroy it. They believe they have a responsibility to care for the world and protect it. Christians must see that the world is good because God sees it as good. Okay, and then followers of Hinduism believe that faith and environments are always connected. They say, I might say this wrong, Vasudeva. I think it's Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means that you recognize the whole world as your family. They believe in 3 principles. One is Dharma, which means duty or responsibility, and there's 2 types of Dharma. There's eternal Dharma that relates to the spiritual life, and earthly Dharma that relates to having a duty to everybody around them and live with laws of nature. Okay, and then next is Ahimsa, which means non-violence. That's in relation to other people, the environment, animals, and to themselves. And then Samadrisha, that means equal vision. So they believe that everything, not just humans, have a spiritual origin, even though they don't look the same. And then you see religious institutions talking about other like political topics like gender and race. And is that distracting from other issues like the environment? So this is a quote from, it was an article called Religion and Views on Climate and Energy Issues by Carrie Funk from the Pew Research Center. Oh, can you see that? Okay, so it says, while 47% of those who attend worship services at once or twice a month said their clergy speak out on the environment, few adults describe religion's influence as most important in shaping their thinking on environmental protection. Of the U.S. adults in a 2010 survey, the biggest influence on their views about tougher laws to protect the environment. So 6% said it was religious beliefs, 28% said education, 24% said the media, 18% said personal experience, 6% friends and family, and then 11% something else. And then a plan to focus more on the environment or shine more light on the environmental issues could be for, and I'm Christian, so I go to church. She could say to plan mission trips or incorporate the environment in more conversations and make connections to things that people care about and be relatable. But I think doing mission trips, I feel like they kind of do that already, but maybe not solely for the environment. It's more to help those in need. But you could go to a place where people are in need, but one reason is that because the environment is so destroyed, and then it could just help you have more of a realization and want to take care of the environment more because you see what it could do. So that's one thing, and then help those there realize just and create better habits. Okay, and then political rhetorics. Some things in place right now to help the environment. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, ensures compliance with environmental laws through inspections, monitoring, and enforcement actions. Sorry, I lost my place. Some laws overseen by the EPA are the Clean Air Act, which requires emissions tests. That's why every time you get a new car, you have to get an emissions test, or every couple years, I think. The Clean Water Act, which prevents water pollution, keeps records of water quality, and create risk management plans. The Safe Drinking Water Act, which protects against naturally occurring and man-made contaminants. And then the RCRA, which is Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. They regulate waste disposal. Some of these groups also help to elect government officials or representatives that would, advocate for the environment and focus on environmental policies. For the next section, the fact that political institutions are shying away from environmental issues, they're not focusing as much as they should. I got that information from an article called "Climate Change Was a Major U.S. Election Issue in 2020. Why Has It Taken a Backseat in 2024?" by Rosie Frost from Euronews. There's a title, but the information I got was down here. It said that, this is a quote, presidential campaigns have instead focused on other key election issues like the economy, immigration, and foreign policy. End quote. You would think that the candidates would have given more notice and expand on their ideas for the environment given the recent weather. And then another quote, Hurricane Helene, one of the deadliest storms ever seen in the U.S., hit in September, killing more than 220 people and causing widespread damage in North Carolina and Georgia. It was followed 2 weeks later by Hurricane Milton, which left destruction in its wake as it tore through Florida. Scientists have said both storms were made worse by climate change. Obviously storms happen, but the fact that they were made worse by climate change should have raised more concerns, especially from the government, who has more of a voice or a say to really kickstart some type of changes, because those are pretty bad. And then back to back was crazy. I would say a plan could be, instead of deporting so many immigrants, to create environmental jobs. But I feel like that just sounds too easy. If that was the solution, they would have already done it. I don't know, but it's if we say that they're taking so many jobs, why don't we just create new jobs for them that helps the environment? I don't know. Okay, so talk about Hurricane Helene. And many times disaster churches and religious groups come out in large numbers to help those in need, or where they can, the community, whatever. The government also has funds set aside for those affected by natural disasters, like stipends, for example. Post-hurricane federal disaster assistance is and was available to states Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and VA. I think that's Virginia. Through FEMA, FEMA. Also can help with debris removal, housing assistance for survivors, disaster assistance for businesses, disaster distress helpline, etc. Where'd it go? So this is a page, FEMA.gov. It just talks about the hurricane and all the ways that you can get help for those that were affected. Okay, artificial intelligence. while AI, wait, sorry. For this one, I read an article called "How AI Causes Serious Environmental Problems, but might also provide solutions," from DW Business. I don't see it. Okay. Oh wait, sorry, that was a video. That's why. It was on YouTube. Okay, so while AI can do things like map Antarctic icebergs 10,000 times faster than humans, track deforestation in real time, better predict weather patterns, and suggest more efficient waste management systems, they consume large amounts of energy and electricity, which produces large amounts of heat. And this all came from the video. In order to keep the systems or databases from overheating, they have to cool it down by using water or AC. Concerns arose when Google planned to build a $200 million data center in Chile, and the neighborhood realized the center will be using 168 liters of water per second. Oh God. Okay, so I've been talking and it hasn't been recording, so I have to figure out where I was at. I was talking about, okay, 168 liters. Okay, the neighborhood realized that they were going to be using the Google database was going to be using 168 liters of water per second in a city that was going through a 15-year drought. So that wasn't exactly ideal. But yeah, AI definitely has a big impact on the environment because, like I said, every time you use AI, it's coming from these huge buildings just full of like computer systems and everything. So every time you use it, it uses a lot of energy to find you those answers. And like I said, produces a lot of heat, gives off a lot of heat, and you have to cool it down somehow so it doesn't like explode or start fires and everything. I would say a plan to address environmental concerns could be to send people to talk at schools about the use of AI and its negative effects on the environment, given that students are one of the main users. The next quote is coming from an article titled "Survey 86% of Students Already Use AI in Their Studies" by Rhea Kelly from Campus Technology. Okay. It says, in a recent survey from Digital Education Council, 86% of students said they use AI in their studies. 24% reported using daily, 54% daily or weekly, and 54% at least weekly. Yeah, that's a big number. A lot of kids use AI, like ChatGPT all the time. The AI thing on Snapchat all the time. And then to sort of kind of connect everything back together, somebody who is egocentric would take much more into account the effects on the environment of their actions, as would a religious person. Those people are more likely to care about the environment more. However, an anthropocentrist would take into account the damage and offer their help, but only because it affected the humans living there. So like take Hurricane Helene. Some people might have been offering their condolences or their help or assistance, whatever, because they're religious and they felt like they should give back to the community or help with the environment. Others might have been offering their help because it affected human beings. And that's the only, because they're anthropocentrists, they only care because humans are affected. Same thing goes for if AI was to, the effects AI has on the environment. If they're to help, it's because we're humans and we live here. Yep, I think that's pretty much it.